All right, we're back. Graveyard Shift Movie Podcast, episode number 53. This week, it was Tyler's pick, and he picked Jessabelle.
Jessabelle.
Jessabelle from 2014. We're in the Bayou, and yeah, that was his pick. was Jessabelle. I'm rocking a 4.5 for this one.
I thought you said a long time ago we didn't do halves or whatever.
No, Maverick doesn't do. I do halves all the time. I got the score sheets to prove
I've
it,
done
baby.
some halves.
You've done some halves too, Tyler. I said I didn't want to go like negative shit. I remember saying that because Maverick was like, I would go negative. We could. That's one rule. I was like, no negatives. You can do a 0, but anyway, 4.5. Started off, really liked it, and then about halfway through, I was like, I still like it, and then by the end of it, I was like, you guys have ruined it. So,
Really?
yeah. So Maverick, what's your score?
I'll give it a 4. It's the exact opposite for me. At the beginning, fucking slow, sucked. Not a lot of like juice in the beginning, and then it picked up, and I was like, okay. And then the ending, I was like, all right, that's okay.
Yeah.
4. Yeah, I'll give it a 4.
Tyler.
I give this an 11. Best film I've ever. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I give it a 5. I thought it was a
Yeah.
new idea. It was okay.
Yeah.
There was a couple things that I took very big issues with, but I will get to that.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, spoiler warning for Jessabelle. We're ruining everything about it. So you've been warned. Ah, shit.
You.
So anyway, let's start off with the beginning of this movie was just them getting run over by a fucking semi truck in their car, which this couple's moving. She's pregnant. Yeah, she's pregnant at the time. And they're like leaving the state. Where do they live? I know they say it at some point.
How do we do? I know her dad lives in southern and Louisiana, but I don't know where they were.
Okay, but they were leaving where they were. They were moving to start their new life, and then they like turn. Weird how they film it. I don't know if the semi cuts off the road somehow, or if the guy just stopped in the middle of the road when he turned. Because it looks like he goes forward, and then he turns to him. And he's like, "I had the craziest." There's a semi.
There was
just wrecks them.
There was a car parked there, and they were pulling out of their driveway, so they couldn't see from the left. So then he just kind of went. Like it happens to me a lot in parking lots, but where you can't see, and you're like, "All right," and you just kind of go. So,
but yeah. So immediately the boyfriend's dead. So is the baby. The baby. Let's go.
She didn't look that pregnant. Like,
well, I think it was early stages, or at least you could say that. There was a part where at the beginning when they're doing like the fixing her up on the table, where they're like, what is this? And something was like embedded in her head, and then they like pull it out, and they're like, it's a piece of his skull, and I was like, god damn. Yeah, but anyway, the beginning hooked me in. I was like, okay. Also, I was watching with like headphones and shit for this one. That one didn't get me, but it was loud, so. There is one scare that was good in this movie that got me. But, anyway. Baby's dead. Oh, I said that already.
From the get, though, did you... I mean, apparently you were scared at one part of the movie. This was supposed to be a real scary movie. I didn't find it scary at all.
It was not scary. Not in the slightest.
The only time... The time I got scared was when she watches the tape for the first time. And then the mom's going, and she's like, oh, there's something, something in you, or in the house, and it wants you out and shit. And then the dad is behind her. You don't know that, and he like turns the TV off, and he's like, "What are you doing?" or whatever, and it like shows him. Yeah, and like I was sitting here. I was like, damn, that's pretty creepy. And then and it turned him off, and, and I was like, So that was it. That was the scare of the movie, was the dad. And then they tried that a couple more times throughout, but then at that point, I was like, all right, you played your hand too many times.
It was I don't know. because she gets hurt in the accident and she's in a wheelchair. But like the only reason she's in a wheelchair is just so she can't run somewhere.
There's like, as coming from someone who has had reconstructive surgery on his, I
Always
have
about
medical
Tom and
expertise,
his problems.
right?
Yeah. Please
I
tell us
had-
more about your foot.
I had surgery to fix my foot.
Okay.
They wrap you up.
Are you
You're in a
okay?
cast for a month.
He made
There's
it.
no,
He
like-
wasn't ever gonna die.
There's no
so
standing.
dramatic.
There's no weight on your feet and shit. This lady, they have to. You get one shot of her in the hospital bed where she has like the metal things on her legs, and they're like, your body's wrecked or whatever. And then she's in the wheelchair, just looking like a normal person, and she's even standing up at parts. Like, and I was like, you can't do this. This isn't. So then I was like, maybe she just has nerve damage in her back or something. Maybe it's not leg problems that she's having. But I'm pretty sure they were like, your leg's fucked up. Like,
Yeah, I think the doctor told her she had multiple like fractures in her legs, or
I'm pretty
something
sure.
like that. It wasn't too important. It
I
doesn't
guess they
matter.
just didn't feel the need to put a
Elaborate.
cast on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but
Well,
can we talk about, by the way, the greatest fucking dresser of all time, which is she goes to live with her dad, and dad's like, this is your mama's room. You're gonna have to live in here. And she has a dresser with a sink on top of it built in, and I was like, holy shit! Why isn't that a thing? We need that.
It's not a dresser. It's just
It's a dresser. It's a dresser.
Your sink doesn't have a cabinet under it.
It's a dresser.
That's normal, Thomas. What?
It's a dresser.
You don't have drawers under your
It's a
sink?
dresser.
Like, what do you?
It's a dresser. You got any more?
are you talking about the thing? The
It's
thing
a
he
dresser.
pushes- he
It's a
pushes-
dresser.
It's in front of the
No.
door that he pushes out.
No,
of the
not
way?
that thing. That's like a
Oh.
cabinet.
No, he's talking about when they opens it up, and then there's the sink with its normal cabinet
It's a
under
dresser. It's a
it,
dresser.
and Tom is blown away by it.
Yeah, you get
It's a
one
dresser.
shot of this sink. Like
With a dresser.
has like a medicine cabinet up top.
It's gonna be
storage
here.
down bottom.
It's gonna be a fucking Papa.
I don't know.
I can't remember that guy's
Not
name in
important.
the comments. I was gonna tell him it's a dresser in the comments.
It's not a dresser though.
It's a dresser.
It was leaking blood at one point, and I was like, "What is this?"
It
I
was
didn't know that
leaking
was
blood, and
or
it was like
oil or
Or
whatever.
like mud, something dark.
mud.
Half
yeah.
this movie shot in like the shadows, kind of weird, but whatever.
Was it? I thought it was kind of a bright. horror
lighting.
movie.
I don't
Yeah.
know. There's like certain movies nail the lighting to make like movies better. This
Uh-huh.
one did not. So
Yeah.
it was weird. Like they went. There's a point in the movie where they go and they dig up this grave, and they have this single lantern. And as a victim of every hurricane on the planet, I can tell you that those little lanterns are barely enough to take a shit by, more or less, and dig up a hole.
Yeah.
And like
To be fair, this is coming from the colorblind fuck out of the three of us. So your eyes aren't too good.
no, I
Damn. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I see better than most. I get we're
I
talking
don't
about
know. Can't see color. I know that.
the color of a car or something. That's different. But
This motherfucker talking about he can't see in the dark with a lantern. Like,
colorblind people see better in the dark.
Anyway, yeah, they so I did like the scene where I think it's the first night she's laying in the house. It's before she watches that tape where they have where she's like laying there and she like hears some creaks or whatever, and she's like and she like closes the, what do you call those that are around the beds? I would say blinds, but it's like
it's
a
like
curtain or
curtain.
something.
Yeah,
I
curtain.
think
Yeah,
it's a
and-
canopy is what it's called. I think.
Yeah. And then she closes it, and then she like looks over, and just barely through like the curtain, you could see like a lady sitting in her wheelchair, and I was like, "Ooh, that's
You look
pretty
real
spooky."
grudgy. Like,
She did get pretty grudgy,
yeah.
yeah. And you get a bunch of where she's watching the tapes and stuff, and I think the TV goes staticky at one point. I remember being like, yeah, it had a grudgy feel to it.
Yep.
Yeah, it had a Lake Mungo feel for a little bit because the mom was talking about an accident happened. It hasn't happened yet, but it's not your fault and all that shit. And I was thinking of Lake Mungo, like, I feel like something bad happened to me. It hasn't got here yet, but it's going to. And, oh, God. Yeah. But, so do we want to, do we want to talk, I don't know. Do we want to talk about, so, Jessabelle, you get Jessabelle, okay? And then the ghost lady, demon thing that comes up. You find out she's like a demon. She's an inner demon and all all this shit or whatever. And she is like, Jessabelle's like, who are you? And the demon's like, Jessabelle or whatever, And so you get two Jessabelles. You get them, they find a grave with Jessabelle on it. And then she's like, maybe there is a grave under there. And they dig it up. Sure enough, it's a baby or whatever, right? So you find out that, like,
Pause you.
Okay.
I hated this part because right before they dig up this baby, they find a floating baby.
Yeah.
In the water, and you're like, oh, fuck, is that a kid? And it's not,
Yeah.
It's just a baby. And then they show you a dead baby, and you're like...
Which I'm pretty sure later you see that they bury the baby with that
together,
baby.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how the fucking toy baby wound up completely out of the... But, yeah, they dig it up, so there's this whole thing where they're like, oh, you had a twin sister, and the cop's like, it must have been a stillbirth, and they buried her there and stuff. And so, for a while, you're like, oh, this demon must be the sister or whatever, right? Then you get to the end, okay? This movie seemed like it kept throwing in little pieces and being like, it would add something to the story. And then it got to where there was like 10 minutes of movie left, and they were like, oh, shit, we got to wrap this up. And so they just had Ghost Mom show up and be like, oh, I cheated on your dad with this fucking dude, and we had a black baby. And then the dad fucking murdered it and then murdered my boyfriend. And then we adopted you and named you Jessabelle to cover up the secret or whatever. Which, I won't say I agree with what the husband did. Murder's wrong, kids. But the mom was definitely the bad guy in this situation, right?
Really was.
I was like, okay,
really was. And you could argue the other guy, because they came back.
I'm not mad at that guy getting killed.
No, I'm just saying they're both. I don't know. The spirits of them were dog shit because they came back for this orphan chick, and they were like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna kill you for revenge. And she didn't have shit to do with it, and I'm like,
she even says that. She's like, I did nothing. They're like, no, sorry.
Well, they have
they
have that in the tapes where they're like, oh, you might think it's your fault, but it's not your fault and shit. And then at the end, they're like, it is your fault. I was like, okay. And also, there was a real dumb line where this whole time, we'll get into it more, but this demon lady's just been terrorizing the fucking Jessabelle and her boyfriend.
Another guy cheating on his wife.
Yeah, and she's been terrorizing them, and then they find out that, oh, it's the twin sister. Or they think it's twin sister, and then that's when they're like, oh, the cop later is like, oh, turns out she was murdered. She was born, and it looked like someone took her over their knee and snapped her in half or whatever. Which then I think they show the dad kill her at one point, and he doesn't do that at all. He or maybe no, I'm thinking of when the mom went to go smother the baby, but then it was real Jessabelle, and then she killed herself.
Well, he doesn't do it either. He puts her in the baby carriage and throws her off the thing.
Yeah,
true. Yeah, so none of this. Yeah, none of this. But they show that, and then the lady goes, oh, she doesn't want to hurt us. She wants help. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know about you, but I've been watching the same movie where she just bashed in fucking the boyfriend's head on the ground or whatever. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then at the end of the movie, the ghost, like, chunk her into the water, and you see from the other people's point of views that she's, like, wheeling herself or whatever. But she chunks her in, and then the deep... What's up?
I'm going to say this, and I'm sorry if anyone out there is in a wheelchair, but I cannot see a person in a wheelchair go off of something into water and not just laugh hysterically.
It's pretty funny.
It is hilarious. Yeah. I was like, hey, because they're like...
Yeah.
Terrible human being.
It reminded me of the Macamee clip that fucking Paul Rudd always plays on Conan, where it's the fucking kid in the wheelchair going off the cliff. Ah! Like, but
Anyways.
yeah, she dumps her off into the water. The girl sinks, right? The demon comes swimming out, right? She's like looking at her, and she takes the bracelet that was her mom's or whatever, and like kisses her on the forehead. And I remember for a minute being like, oh, maybe she's gonna help. Like free her.
I
She's
did.
like, nah.
Yeah.
And like went swimming up, and she emerges as Jessabelle, and she comes up. They pull her out of the water. She immediately starts making out with the boyfriend, who is married, and even though he admits to Jezebel early, he's like, I still want to fuck you, and he doesn't say it like that, but that's what he's saying. And
Doesn't say that at all, but all right.
No, not even close.
that's what he says. And then dresser. And then they're walking into the house, right? and the lady, the cop's like, Mrs. Dufresne. I'm gonna call her that. I don't know what her last name was. Mrs. Dufresne, are you okay? And then the lady looks at him and she goes, it's Jezebel. Like that's how the movie ends. And at It's Jezebel, I went, okay, knock some points down for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was a bad ending.
Miss Monroe.
Is Jezebel.
That was a bad
I
ending.
thought it ended kind of quick. There was like 20 minutes of credits, but
Yeah,
I thought,
I tried to scroll through, but I didn't see anything.
yeah, I thought the high school friend was gonna figure it out because the whole movie she's going by Jesse. My name is Jesse. My name is Jesse. My name is Jesse. And in the end, she's like,
My name is Jonas.
yeah, Jezebel, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is.
It-
Whatever.
But-
There's just so much shit in this movie that doesn't make sense.
Well, I
I
was-
like how they played the tapes and how the mom wasn't talking to Jesse. She was talking
Yeah.
to her actual daughter Jezebel.
Yeah.
And then,
But-
of course, Jesse finds that out at the end.
Yeah.
And the
When
twist
they
was good. I like how they played it.
Yeah. But there's something like about, I don't know, part of me like thinks there's more under the surface, and they talk about, this accident happened that, now you have these inner demons and all this shit. So then you're like, okay, well, this accident happened where her husband and her baby's dead and all this shit. And so then, like, I'm trying to find the points where it's her fighting her inner demons, and then that her coming up through the water, it really is her. And, like, they just try to give you, like, it's the demon taking over. But maybe it's her just releasing all of her, like, pent-up frustrations and inhibitions, and that's why she starts making out with, and shit. So, like, I want there to be more, but I think I'm grasping. I think I'm trying to reach.
Well, but like, there's so many questions, right? Because the boyfriend, we'll call him boyfriend, even though he wasn't. He was
I don't
just
know his fucking name.
high school sweetheart or whatever.
Yeah.
But he gets
Preston,
jumped.
I think it was.
He gets jumped by the demon lady.
Which you guys knew immediately that was the demon lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're not showing her face, and you're like, okay, well, this is.
So he gets jumped by her and everything, and you're like, okay, that's great. Later on, when they tie the lady up in the chair, they're like pushing her towards the dog. Her hands are tied to the chair and everything. But then it shows it from the cop and the dude's point of view, and it's just her just fucking giving her, like going
Yeah.
as fast as she can, and she's rolling herself out, and it's like,
Yeah.
but he saw the other one, so why is he not seeing these? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like I think they had like a different ending or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of screaming. It's a loud movie. In between points, it's a lot of quiet and then a lot of screaming. Which, the only time I think, like, that bathroom scene is probably the best use of that demon lady screaming. And then afterwards, it's just like, all right, shut up.
So y'all even said it, that the demon lady was real grungy looking and dirty,
Yeah.
whatever. Do you think they did that just to hide the fact that it was a black chick, and that was the real?
Yeah, because
I
at first,
swear she got less and less grungy as the movie went on.
Yeah. And at first, like, I was like, oh, is this just... I was thinking it was the same lady playing the demon. They were going to pull a Parent Trap, And then I remember, like, 45 minutes were left, and I saw her again, and I was like, this looks like a completely different lady. And,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
remember seeing her in the water and thinking she was hot, and I was like, "That's a really attractive woman."
Yeah.
And then I was like, earlier she looked nothing like that, so I was
Yeah.
like, maybe it's a different person. I don't know if there's two people that played her or whatnot.
It must
But-
be. I would think. I wouldn't imagine that,
But if it was a Parent Trap thing, then it'd make sense, right? If it was
Yeah.
her, just her, you'd be like, "Well, that's her, evil twin," or something. But,
Yeah.
yeah, this movie does what it
Yeah.
does.
But that bathroom, like, I liked how it started with just the real quiet door closing, and like you don't even hear it click. It just completely, and then the water gets all nasty, and then fucking yeah, and then that lady just started screaming. I was like, God damn! It's like,
You didn't find that nurse lady to be like kind of weird and crazy and like
Yeah.
everything's happening, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm here for your physical therapy." It's like, what?
Yeah.
yeah, randomly.
Yeah.
All
then
right.
She's there for like 2 seconds. But she's like, "I left for 5 minutes," and
Yeah.
Dad's like, "Get out of here!"
So
Yeah.
okay, we got to talk about this. All right. So the dad. All right. I spent the majority of the movie that he was in it thinking to myself, I liked the dad. I was like, he was a good actor. I liked his scenes, right? So then, he made me laugh because the first time he catches her watching the tapes, he just takes her fucking wheelchair and dumps it off into the water, and I was like, oh shit. Which then, they call back. I guess that was their
Yeah, that was yeah.
But he catches her watching them again, and he's like, I've had enough of this. And he takes the tape, and he goes out and he gets a fucking barrel, and he throws it, and he starts gassing it up and all this shit, right? And I was like, Freddie, you could just smash it. Why are you doing all this extra bullshit? And then I got my answer, because he goes in the shed to, like, get his match or whatever. And then he, like, flicks it for some reason, and somehow the gasoline's gotten on his arm. So he catches on fire, right? And then the next thing I know, my guy starts going, oh, and it was the worst screaming I've ever heard. And then the door is shut.
Because he like busted out that window and he was like trying to save himself.
Yeah.
I was like,
And then the little cripple girl is like, Daddy! Daddy! Scam.
Yeah.
And then the dad dies.
So
Yeah.
this is probably my least favorite thing in this movie. I'll go ahead and start worst of best of.
The worst of the best of
So
that's so
she,
worse. So what? When did we switch it
Yeah.
up?
Dresser.
but dresser, goddamn. So her dad's getting burned alive and she doesn't move, right? She can't move. And then later on you find out the phone's upstairs, so she can't do nothing. And then later on in the movie she calls 911 for her boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
No one knows how. I guess
Yeah.
maybe using that cell phone? I don't know. And it's just like this lady's running around like helping herself do all this stuff off camera, but like as soon as you see her, she's like, "I'm in a chair," and I just really hated that. Well,
Yeah.
they even show her get out of the chair, and she like falls on the ground, and it's the most I don't know
Yeah.
non-clumsy looking thing ever. I don't know why they just didn't have her fall out of the chair onto the floor, but she like climbs the pole and then
Uh-huh.
lower. I don't know. This movie's just. They needed to focus more on the voodoo shit than they did
They
on
did.
the fucking useless boyfriend and his wife.
Or the voodoo people. I like the voodoo people too. Like the
There was a scene where
grandmother?
the guy grabs her arm or whatever because she's like, "Stop hitting him" or whatever, and he grabs her arm and then he like gets this weird look on his face and he like lets go, but they never talk about it.
Yeah. If they
Yeah.
like went more into that, I think I would have liked it.
Well,
I mean-
I like the voodoo grandma, where she's like, Justin, oh yeah, I was gonna laugh when you were gonna bust your ass, right? And then she's like, who are
Break
you,
your
honey?
arm.
She's like, I'm Jessabelle Dufresne, and she goes, Dufresne from the Dufresne family, and the lady goes, yeah,
Name's
yeah,
not
and then
Dufresne.
her name's Dufresne. And then the lady goes, and just starts speaking her voodoo language. And,
Haitian?
was it? No,
Oh, that was Haitian, right? Yeah.
that was voodoo.
Voodoo.
That was voodoo.
No
Where,
subtitles, man. I didn't have
where's
any
Sam B
subtitles
at?
for that.
I watched
Voodoo,
it in
voodoo
subtitle. It
bitch.
didn't translate it.
Oh, really? Fuck. They're racist.
There's like
They're
three different
racist.
kinds of like voodoo or whatever, and like
don't know.
Santa
I just know
all
that
the
they
time.
fucking cut that chicken open and pour its blood in that baby's casket, and I was like, God damn.
Chicken blood is potent, man. It's a lot of rituals,
Yeah, a lot
spells,
of snakes use that and goats.
dark
But,
magic, man.
So what was your best stuff?
man, I'm really having a hard time.
I
with
am
the
as
best
well.
stuff. I know I gave this movie a 5 because I think it's good to watch because of the story. But as a movie, I think this one like missed all the marks.
I
My
know.
favorite part, and it's not my favorite because it's a white guy shooting a black guy. It's my favorite part of like
The fuck?
the nonchalantness that the guy like pulls up to the church, and he just gets out of his car and he's just like, "Pew!"
I think
And
he was drunk. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, he just
wobbling.
hops out the whip and just fires one shot, kills the guy, burns the church. I
You
mean,
heard it here first. Tyler likes burning churches and shooting black people.
He can't see color, Tom.
He can't see color. This
I
is
thought
a
this was
terrible
a sequel
episode.
Train to Busan. I thought that was all these Chinese
Oh.
dudes doing. But the wheelchair going off the thing, maybe like there's nothing in this movie.
Yeah.
I hated the lady's voice. It annoyed me the whole
Yeah,
movie.
let me see where I wrote down. There was one line that I remember wrote down mocking her. Keep talking though. I gotta find it.
Are you done? I can go next.
Go ahead. You do your best.
Y'all a
though.
question though before
Okay.
you go, Mav. What was the deal with the bird statue? She pulled it out of the dresser, the one under the sink.
No idea. Nothing.
Oh, I remember the boyfriend's name is Preston.
I
And the
said
only
that.
reason-
Maverick said it, and you keep calling people Dufresne and Dresser.
I was calling him Justin Dufresne. I thought it was just. But
I think
anyway,
it's
I wrote down.
but I don't even know if that's it.
There was a point where she goes, Preston! And I remember the way she said it, I was like, shut up. Anyway.
Every time she's talking about her dad, she's Daddy, no,
Daddy,
Dad."
please,
God,
Daddy.
I was like, but it was like this super low voice.
I was like, is this how we sound?
I was waiting to
People-
see if like when the voodoo lady took over the spirit or whatever,
Yeah.
if the voice would change and that she was using like a mock voice the whole time because her voice is like super low and kind of weird sounding. And I was like, that's gonna be great because she tried to talk like this and the lady be like, but it didn't. It was the same monotone. I mean, it's not a bad voice. I just couldn't watch it for an hour and a half.
The best part of this movie, to me, you have to have headphones to appreciate it, I think, which is the sound design on that one scene where you can hear her running down the stairs towards that lady.
Pretty good.
And then you can hear her like running around and shit. That was a cool scene. So, or if you had surround sound. But if I was just watching this like through the TV, I'd be like, "What's she so
Volume
scared
turned
about?"
up,
Did,
like-
did you guys feel like the scene where she sees I guess herself, not herself, but
No, it's not.
the
Yeah, it's a
spirit,
completely different lady.
like walk up and like put her hand in there and like reach at her face, that it was just like a waste of fucking time. Like, I kept waiting for something scary to happen, but it was just like, it was
Yeah,
too
because
slow.
she's in the wheelchair and she wheels up, and then the lady turns over, and I remember and then she starts turning back, and I was like, "Well, here comes the scare."
Yeah, no.
But then you cut back, and she's just still sitting there, but it adds like a, "Bang!" And it's like, what? Nothing's happening.
And then the hand like pokes in and it's going for the bracelet, and then it's
like E.T.
yeah, and then it goes for the face, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Worst part, Dad getting burned up. It was terrible. Anyway,
Really?
Yeah. What's your favorite? Least favorite?
Favorite was the big reveals, man. I like when movies do shit like that, and because I didn't see it coming at all, where they totally twisted around and they're like, "Oh, she was never talking to you. She's talking to her daughter, her real daughter, anyways."
They ruined that by the girl kept saying that I'm dead, and this. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you're literally
Yeah.
alive, right?
The mom was like, "Oh, you're already dead," and I was like, "Dun dun dun," and I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I was
kinda
gonna be
like that.
she's the ghost, but then it wasn't.
yeah, and then
I-
The mom
I
came
don't
out of
know.
nowhere, right? Like
Yeah, that's I was gonna say the mom and her guy
Moses.
Moses popped up at the very end for no reason.
Well, the guy she saw visions of, right? Like the burnt up
Yeah, the
The
dude.
one
burn up
time.
dude, yeah.
Um,
But this time he wasn't burnt. I
yeah,
think they should have kept him looking burnt. Because at first I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah,
And I was like,
he
oh, okay.
came out like pristine robes and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway. Uh,
can't think of
what
my
was your... Oh,
other
yeah, worst though.
my other worst stuff. Um, yeah, I can't think of it right now. I forgot it. I
What?
had it earlier, but
Yeah. Was it just me, or she calls the boyfriend at one point, or her friend, and she's like, "I need you, Preston," and then the wife answers the phone, right?
Yeah.
And the wife's like, "Who is this?" And she's like, "It's Jessabelle," and the wife like hangs up or whatever, right? So the husband had told her, "Oh, this is my friend from high school. She's like crippled right now, and all this shit, right?" So I'm
Well, no,
like,
he doesn't tell her.
"Does he not?"
He tells her some bullshit about how it's a Make a Wish Foundation or something.
Well, I thought that was a joke.
Oh,
yeah,
'Cause he was
I
like,
think
yeah,
I
he's
took
like,
that
I
as a
told her I
joke.
was hanging out with a Make-A-Wish kid, and he looked at her smiling, and she didn't think it was funny. But anyway, so then he takes her to his house to stay the night that one, and wheels her in, and this is when you see the wife for the first time. And man, she pops up, and I put it in chat even. I was like, man, was the definition of a bitch. Like when she wheeled him in, and she just was like, just angry looking at me, and I was like, man, chill out. And then I was like, you had good reason to be upset. I'm sorry. He was trying to get this cripple porn.
well, to me, it seems like she's the one who works, and this other guy just drives around all day.
Yeah.
Like, what was his
I
job?
can't remember. Doesn't he say what his job was at some point?
I don't think
I
so.
don't know.
I don't know.
But it's another weird thing, and it could have been the guy losing his wife, whatever. But like when they do the reveal that she's pregnant or whatever, what is it? Hey, we're expecting or whatever. They're all wearing suits. They're in that really nice house. Everything's fancy, and then you go to modern day, and like they're just poor folk.
Yeah, and also the dad is the same age that he was
Yeah.
fucking 18
Yeah, he
years
didn't
later,
age
however
at
long.
all.
So you watch these
We-
videos, and it dates it by like a lot, right? Because when was the last time a VHS? You all have never watched them, I'm
I
sure.
watched VHSs, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
early on.
But like it dates everything that like it makes you feel like everything's really old, but it's really not. It's just 20 years, right? Because
Yeah.
that girl can't be that old.
So- That scene where they're at the party, okay? They have servants going around, and the dad keeps giving them orders. You notice a theme about the servants is that they're all black, okay? And I was like, oh. Do you think that like that's where the wife met Moses, and that whole like organization they have started there, and there's like that?
well, no, because she was already pregnant then.
That's true. Well, yeah, but Moses would have been working for him at that point. You would think.
Probably. I mean, shit like that happens all the time. Like, look
But
at
then
Arnold
don't they say
Schwarzenegger.
Moses is a painter or some shit?
Was he working there? I thought that was just, she knew him from his church. So
Well, I don't
Yeah,
remember
but-
because now thinking back, if you go watch it, maybe because we were used to that dude being burned up. Maybe one of them guys that they were talking to was Moses, and if you go back, you're like, oh, that's him right there.
Problem is like you don't go to like a voodoo church out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it's not like if neither one of y'all go to church unless they have toys there.
What? Bless.
Blessed. Anyways, but if you decided to go tomorrow, you wouldn't be like taking a chicken with you, to start off the shindig. So I don't think this movie had enough substance to tell you like how the wife and Moses met and all that other stuff. It's giving it too much credit, I think. They couldn't even subtitle the Haitian that you heard in the movie.
that's true.
Not the voodoo.
Yeah. So I mean, because how easy would it be for like the old grandpa guy when the cook lady was like saying whatever? He like translated it, but it would have been easier just to have them have a conversation, or
Yeah.
anything. But instead, the guy acted like she was already dead and she wasn't there to hear anything. I'm just gonna stand over here and translate after she says everything. That was the only scare that got me in this whole movie is when that cook lady grabbed her hair. out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That one got me. I was like, oh shit, but
Yeah.
just you weren't expecting it. But
Hey, this movie had a budget of $3 million, made a box office of $7 million.
I feel bad for even picking this. I don't know. Like I said, it's like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, right? A lot of them are really good. I mean, well, it's different than that, but like it's the twist thing because like there's no reason to ever watch this movie again, right? Like I don't even think I would tell anybody to watch it. But I mean, if you do watch it, I don't think you'll be mad about it. But at the same time, you'll be like, all right, what are we gonna do now? Like.
I think it'd be good for like maybe like a date night, like a couples thing, just a one-time watch.
Everyone cheats.
When are you gonna cheat on me with it?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I like a nice the twist in the movie. So
Yeah, I like to be surprised, but I don't think this one built up the surprise enough.
it
'Cause
did an all right job.
Yeah, because when it happens, you're like, oh, okay, all right,
Yeah.
but you're not like blown away. You're not like, oh
Yeah.
shit,
There's that in between, because like this movie, like I said, I think the last 10 minutes they were like, we gotta speed this up, and they just give you it all. Fucking Horns, that movie, they just put it out there. You know what the twist is by the time it comes up. So
Well,
you
some
gotta.
of us.
There's movies in between that you gotta find that in between. I saw also there's a part where when she sees the ghost girl, she's like, "Who are you?" In my brain, I wrote down, "It's me, Austin. It was me all along." This is how I entertain myself when I watch these movies, boys. As I make these jokes in my notes. There was a random part. It was right before the. That must have been the nurse lady busting in the house or whatever. Because there's that big ass crash. I remember being like, "What the fuck?" And then the nurse comes walking in. She's like, "The door was locked. I let myself in." And I was like, "Did you just break the window?"
Like, you
what the
hear
fuck?
something fall upstairs, and then this lady
Yeah, and then
walks
she comes in
I'm
through
like,
the
what
front.
the fuck? So
You get that. I hated the that beer bottle picking up and get thrown across the room.
that was
Yes.
pretty. What was it, Jameson?
No, it was some off-brand old.
It was just
Whiskey.
a brown bottle.
It had a name on it. It was called like Old Roy Classic Whiskey or something.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize the bottle,
Oh.
so
Anyway. That might be it for this one.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
There wasn't really that much to talk about with it.
like I said, the dad's like a drunk, and like it's.
You only see him drink one time.
Let me ask y'all a question because this bugged me the whole movie. So she gets a car accident. The only person
Did the
she
dad
called,
do anything wrong?
well, no.
Oh.
She called her dad. Their dad picks her up and everything. Later on, you learn she was like, "Yeah, when my mom died, my dad shipped me off to my aunt, and she raised me." It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, why didn't you call her?
The
I think
aunt
her
died.
aunt died. Yeah, she
Yeah.
says that.
It's
She's
just,
like, my only family's my daddy.
And then you find out she's flat broke, like halfway through the movie. I'm like, God damn, this bitch is off. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
She's down bad right now.
flat broke. Like I said, it was like a multi-million-dollar home. They're
It
like
was.
driving down the bayou or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Why are they doing this on my land?" And it's like, okay, you got like 30 acres of land or something.
Yeah. They love
I,
doing
I
that
remember what my other
What's
dislike
that?
was.
shit. Okay.
It was when they go to that island or whatever across from their house, the lake or whatever.
Yeah.
The homeboy jumps in the water when they see that little hand coming up out the water.
Yeah.
And there's like bubbles and shit. He goes over there and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "This ain't my first time in the
And
bayou."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Man, this motherfucker get eat by a crocodile." And no, he just pulls up this baby. And he's like, "Okay." And then he gets out, wipes himself off.
yeah.
I was like, "Man,
I
I
was
wanted him to die."
disappointed. I was disappointed with that too, because the whole movie, well, not the whole movie, but they keep flashing over, and you would see these flashes of light from across
Yeah.
the. I remember being like, "Damn, it's gonna be like some people or some shit over," and then they get over, and it was just like some wind chimes hanging up.
Yeah, voodoo wind chimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, someone put the flowers there, so
Yeah. So you also get that scene where I guess it was a vision where she looks out the window and she sees like the people carrying fire or some shit or
I
whatever.
think that was real. They had
I
the
think it was
torches.
that group of guys from the church or whatever. I think it was
Yeah.
them. So
I don't
I don't
know.
know. The guy was driving like a classic Jeep or something, which
It was, and it was like light blue, like baby blue. It was kind of weird.
what time does this movie take place during?
I don't know.
Because it has to be the early '90s, right? Because like it's a Ford Ranger when she gets in an accident in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. You'd have to watch it again, but it's really dumb.
I don't think there's any smartphones or anything
It's
around.
not. They got like flip phones or whatever. But it bugs
Yeah.
me that they're putting stuff in the truck, and the bed of the truck is at like their waist level.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, how small is this truck? Like, because
Listen.
it would. I was, and it was normal. It's just how they
Yeah.
wanted it for the shot, I guess. I don't know, but
Uh, I don't know. Anyway. Maverick, what are we watching next week?
I'm gonna watch Soul Station. Which is, if you don't remember, the sequel to
I think it's the prequel, honestly.
Train to Busan. I don't know if it follows the same characters or not. I haven't looked up in the thing.
I don't think so.
But it's
it is. It does say prequel.
yeah,
Yeah.
prequel. Okay, well, there we go. I wanted a nice animated movie. I was looking at like Japanese animated movies. I couldn't find anything that looked interesting. Like I want when I was looking it up, I was getting a bunch of Disney films. And I was like, no, this isn't what I want. I want like adult horror. But I'll look more into it.
I did
I
that
want
shit
more
too.
animated like for animated foreign, not just Japanese.
Assuming in the
Um,
foreign.
That's true.
Boop, boop. Sorry, tangent.
I did that shit too, where I was looking up animated horror movies because I wanted to pick one, and it was like
Caroline.
Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline. They gave me what's the one with the kids that haunted, with the house is haunted or the house is alive?
Yeah,
Monster House. Which honestly, that I remember liking that movie. I was
yeah,
like,
that movie was good, man.
but I was like, this isn't what I wanted.
Maybe in overtime.
Yeah. I'll throw this one
Whoa.
out. So the one I'm gonna pick up, or pick eventually if you look it up, is called Perfect Blue. It's rated
I was
R.
looking at that, but it's like
It's,
1980s or some shit, right?
It's 1997,
97.
and it's like a mystery thriller horror movie that has
I
really
think I
good
looked at the
reviews
trailer.
and people seem to like. So I'll pick that one week. But anyway, so that is it. God, is it Soul Station? Is that how we're gonna pronounce it? 'Cause it's
It's,
spelled Seoul.
Yeah, it's Seoul. That's the
Yeah.
capital of. Anyways,
Save our souls.
Soul Station.
Soul Station.
If you have any recommendations
party.
on foreign, let's not just say animated foreign, just foreign horror films that you think we would like, comment down below.
but what if it's not foreign for them? What if it's local for them?
Foreign to us.
There you go.
So
We live in Korea,
North
So-
Korea.
North Korea. Pick wisely.
Kim Jong Un is in Tom's closet right there, next
Yeah.
to the
Hey
door
Kim,
right there.
you want to come out here? All right.
What is this becoming?
I don't know. This is a weird one.
It's a Soul Station prequel
Soul
to Train to
Station.
Busan.
Yeah.
Now, do we know if you have to watch Train to Busan before you watch this movie?
Well, this is the prequel, so
Yeah, but like maybe they skipped. The
also,
premise
I'm
completely.
pretty sure this movie came out before Train to Busan.
Did it?
They both came out 2016, but I think this movie came out like January.
Oh, I think it came out before.
No,
Or I mean after.
it's like the same year.
Um,
Because
be-
then when that came out, or when the people started hearing about that, they were like, "Oh, this is the."
I don't know.
So that's
figure it out.
August. August is Soul Station. Okay, so July 22nd, 2016 is Train to Busan, and then August this movie came out.
So a month later.
Yeah, literally a
Damn.
month later. Yeah. So, all right. Well, look forward to the first animated horror movie. we've watched on the podcast.
Is it?
Yeah, we haven't watched any other ones. That's why I kept looking for one because I was like, we need to pick one.
And next week after that, we're gonna watch a play. It's gonna be the first horror play.
Or play?
I don't know.
It's my week.
gonna be
I got a
Phantom of the
doozy.
Opera or some shit.
Yeah,
I got a
that-
movie. I got a movie that I've never seen, and I saw the poster for, and I said, I'm picking that. So look forward to that one.
Where did you see a poster for it at?
Twitter.
Oh, well, that's,
People were like, check this out. So I was like, all right, I will check that out.
I've probably already seen it.
Fuck you.
I don't know. I'll let you know next week.
All right,
If
well,
I've
maybe
seen it, not that, you know.
next week, Soul Station, I'm going to go out and buy a dresser sink. And, Maverick, as always, anything else you'd like to add for the movie? Fucked it up. Before the podcast is over.
Dresser.
There you go.